How much could you really tell me about Hamburg? If you're like me, then before setting out to this criminally overlooked city, you might have only known it as one of the big German cities that isn't Berlin. I'm here to tell you that it's so much more than that, and I can't believe I went so long without visiting. Hamburg is a city on the water, and as Europe's third largest port, Hamburg is known as Germany's gateway to the world. The River Elbe is the source, the main artery that brings Hamburg to life. From river tours pacing the canals of the Speicherstadt to the container ships loaded by crane in the harbour, trade and prosperity brought to Hamburg by the River Elbe shaped the city from its foundations. But not everything great about Hamburg sails down the Elbe. From skyscraping concert halls to miniature model railways, from Vegas-style red light district nightlife to cool underground gourmet burger restaurants. Hamburg is a modern, global city with a rich history and culture and something to fascinate everyone. We're Jake and Tom from Holiday Extras, and this is our Hamburg adventure. On our first day, we're going to see the sights the way Hamburg sells them, the full-blown tourist experience. Visiting Hamburg's most highly recommended attractions to let you know if they really make the cut.
On day 2, we loosen up a little, find our own way and indulge our flights of fancy, doing Hamburg the way we wanted, indulge ourselves. We wanted to find out what Hamburg had to offer that was perfect for Jake and Tom.
The 2 days of our trip turned out to be so different, and I hope you find what we learned useful. We learned a lot, but what surprised me most about this trip was how fun it can be to just chase my own curiosity and to break my own expectations. Our adventure started at Gatwick Airport, filling up on a lovely free breakfast in the lounge to prepare us for the journey ahead. From the Hamburg airport, it was easy. We'd booked ourselves a transfer in advance, so before long, we were at our accommodation, resting up before our Hamburg trip truly began. We kicked off day 1 the way any good day starts, with a coffee. There are plenty of places along the river to grab a pretty great coffee, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to try my first ever big pretzel. Which, by the way, was brilliant. So now we were charged up with coffee and pretzels, it was time to move on. In central Hamburg, the River Elbe divides off into smaller, narrower canals that interlace a beautiful district called the Speicherstadt, which means City of Warehouses. So we've made it, and we're here in the Speicherstadt, which I hope I haven't butchered, honestly, because I listened to Google Translate say it like 50 times. The Speicherstadt is the largest warehouse district in the world. Ignore me, it's actually the largest warehouse district in the world where the buildings stand on timber pile foundations. Fun fact, in this case, they're made of oak, which makes it a big tourist attraction, and it consistently comes up as one of the most recommended places to visit in Hamburg. Now, having been here ourselves, totally agree with that. It's beautiful, you have lovely views of the river, it's really nice to walk around, lots of places to grab a coffee and just waste some time, you know? And there's lots of other attractions that are based here as well because it's so popular with tourists, so it's definitely somewhere you should have on your list.
Some of the most picturesque places in the city are around the Speicherstadt, and most city and harbour tours will go through here. Although we could have easily wandered back and forth over the canal bridges all morning, sipping coffee and admiring the architecture, it was time to move on. And we had a little place in mind.
So this next place calls itself one of the epicenters of Hamburg tourism, bold claim, and we're going to go see what we think about it for ourselves. It's called Miniature Wonderland, or as far as I can tell in the German written name, Miniatur Wunderland. Let's go find out. Miniature Wonderland is located in the Speicherstadt and was founded 18 years ago by twin brothers Frederick and Gerrit Braun. It's billed as a model railway attraction, but when you get in, you'll see it's so much more than that. There are 1,300 trains in the exhibit, over 100,000 moving vehicles, and 400,000 human figurines.
Train tracks weave through the walls, up the stairs, and around the exquisitely detailed dioramas that fill the building. The exhibit also runs on a simulated day and night cycle that lasts around 15 minutes, so you can see what every diorama looks like after the sun goes down. There are recreations of the city of Hamburg, the Alps, America, Switzerland, and so much more.
When I was looking for the most popular things to do in Hamburg, the miniature wonderland was everywhere, but at first I was a bit skeptical. But now I'm so glad that I went. So we're on our way out of the miniature wonderland, and I've got to say I actually really loved it. I was kind of into like miniatures and stuff when I was a kid, so it really did it for me. And I think even though it was obviously like a really touristy thing to do, and there's not a whole lot to do other than walk around the exhibits, they were actually really good. Miniature is a bit of a misleading name, I think, because it's huge in there and so are the models. And yeah, I really recommend that you do it, especially if you've got kids and you're visiting Hamburg with them, because they're going to love it. You'll find the Hamburg Dungeon right next door, which is also pretty popular if you love live horror shows, so you should definitely take a look in there too. While the sun was still high in the sky, we wanted to float the idea of seeing the city from a new perspective. So Hamburg is known as a port city. It's the third largest port in Europe. So we were thinking, what better way is there to see Hamburg than a lovely river tour? We purchased the tickets for our river tour at the ticket store Hafen City, which is only a short walk away from the miniature wonderland.
River tours are a staple of Hamburg tourism, and on a beautiful day like it was, it's a wonderful way to squeeze in a city full of sights in just a few hours. Most tours will take you through either the warehouse district or the commercial harbour, which is of course still in use today, but we booked a 2-hour tour that covered both.
Seeing the Speicherstadt from the water is unmissable, but my favourite part was definitely the harbour. The tour boats take you up close to some indescribably huge shipping container cranes and cargo ships, which make you feel tiny by comparison. It was a unique experience that I wouldn't have been able to enjoy without booking a tour, and I can't recommend it enough. Some boats are fully accessible, but we'd recommend asking when booking your ticket just in case. Our next stop was visible in the cityscape from nearly everywhere in Hamburg, even the river tour, and we couldn't wait to see it up close.
St Michael's Church, often simply referred to as Michael, is the most famous church in the city and also the largest, seating 2,500 people. The steeple is 132 metres high and is such a prominent part of the Hamburg skyline that historically it was used by sailors to navigate the River Elbe. But the best part, the steeple contains an awesome viewing platform with 360-degree views of the city.
We could see everywhere we'd been that day. The Speicherstadt, the miniature wonderland, the harbour, and the low afternoon sun was the icing on the cake of an already spectacular view. There is an elevator up to the viewing platform, so we decided to take the easy way up and then walk back down. And we didn't regret it. The body of the church tower is fascinating, and the descent only took a few minutes. So, we can frame some really pretty shots of this church, but it's hard to give you a sense of scale of how really massive it is. And when you're up there on the platform, it's insane. And you can see everywhere in Hamburg, which makes sense because you can basically see the church from everywhere else in Hamburg as well. And I really loved it. I really loved it. It was great. We've come at a really good time of day, and so the sun hit everything in just that right way. Yeah, I've got to recommend it. As beautiful as the views were from the top of St Michael's Church, we wanted to find somewhere a little greener and a little roomier to end our day. And after all, we've spent basically the whole day exploring this city and everything it has to offer, so why not spend the sunset getting back to nature? Planten and Blumen, which translates literally as plants and flowers, is the name of a huge park in the inner city of Hamburg, looking up at Hamburg's iconic spire, the Heinrich Herx TV Tower. So our top tips for visiting Planten and Blumen do come in at the end of the day because it's really lovely. You've got a lovely view of the sunset and the TV tower. There's also a refreshment station, which we got here at about 4 o'clock and it was still open. So you can grab yourself a coffee or a cold drink or something like that to sit on one of the loads of benches they've got here and just take a breather, take it in. It's a really lovely little oasis in the middle of the city, I've got to say. Highly recommended.
Planten and Blommen has everything from tranquil Japanese gardens to water-like concerts, and if you're visiting with the family, kids will love the huge playground. And the whole park is free to enter.
So after a busy day and all that rushing about, it's been really lovely to come here to somewhere tranquil and quiet and enjoy the sunset. So we're going to go have a sit down and I'll see you tomorrow. Hamburg's main attractions had already surpassed all of our expectations. Now, we were excited about tomorrow and finding our own path. Oh, yeah. That was the best sound I could have asked for, I think. When we woke up on day 2, we were on a mission to see the best of Hamburg through the lens of Jake and Tom. Our first quest for the best? Let's find the best view in all of Hamburg. Whoever we asked and wherever we looked, time and time again, one place came up as soon as we mentioned the views, and that was the Elbe Philharmonie. The Elbe Philharmonie was completed in 2017. But thanks to its striking shape and central location, it's already become one of Hamburg's most iconic buildings. Often referred to by its nickname, Elfie, the Elbe Philharmonie is one of the largest and most acoustically advanced concert halls in the world. But you don't have to be a music lover to enjoy the views. The 8th floor is a viewing deck open for free to the general public and is known as the Plaza. So our top tips for the Plaza at Elbe Philharmonie: it is fully accessible. There's an elevator on the way up here, and you can book your time slot in advance online as well. Now it's a €2 charge, but it does mean that you're not given any queues and you're guaranteed a space. So that's what we did, just to make sure it was super hassle-free.
If you can tear yourself away from the balcony views long enough, the Plaza also has a cafe, bar, and a coffee shop. It's the perfect way to start the day.
Personal top tip, I'd recommend coming in the morning. We got here for 9 AM and the views are fantastic. We're really lucky that we came here with really great weather, but there's also nearly no one else here, and I've seen it incredibly busy. Getting up so bright and early was worth it to be able to see the city come to life. It had clearly been a great choice to start the day with the best view in Hamburg, but now we were feeling a little indulgent, maybe even a little luxurious. And what better way is there to indulge luxuriously than with chocolate? Our next quest? Find the best chocolate in all of Hamburg. In the heart of Hamburg is a wonderful place, a chocolate museum called Chocoversum.
Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to film inside, but it was an absolutely fascinating experience. The 90-minute guided tour, which costs around €12 per person, explains every step of the chocolate production from bean to bar.
And here's a pro tip for your visit. Raw cocoa beans taste disgusting, but we'd recommend trying them anyway. Although we'd been expecting to just gorge on chocolate, the Chocoversum was a fantastic surprise and was definitely quality over quantity. Okay, so the Chocoversum wasn't exactly what we expected. It was actually really interesting. We really loved it. And you do actually get to make your own chocolate bar as well that you can take with you at the end. So we're going to try those in a bit once we can find somewhere to get ourselves a coffee.
Don't forget to grab yourself a souvenir from the shop, or even some gifts. They don't all have to make it back home.
So we've had the best view of Hamburg, we found the best chocolate in Hamburg, and in that same kind of vein of indulgence, our next quest, the best hamburger in Hamburg. We've had a long day, we've worked up quite an appetite, and now as the sun goes down, we're going to find somewhere to eat just a lot of hamburger. Everyone we asked in Hamburg told us we'd find the best burger at Dolph's Burgers. So we just got into Dolph's Burger, and there is actually already a 20-minute wait. So we've put our name down, got ourselves a drink, but they don't let you book tables either, so just do know that it's very popular. Got to be a good sign.
Dolph started as a tiny burger stall in 2014, but their focus on innovative, handmade, sustainable burgers took the city's food scene by storm. Now they have 2 locations in Hamburg, but still pride themselves on their homemade style of hospitality. The food at Dolph's Burger is truly incredible. Everything is handmade from scratch by the team here at Dolph's, and the flavours that this food brings to the table are indescribable.
I think it might be the best burgers I've ever had.
anywhere. I like Hamburg.
If you're planning a visit to Hamburg, you have to include a visit to Dolph's. Trust us, you won't regret it.
Of course, until it comes to walking back into central Hamburg and you realise how heavy you feel. But despite how side-splittingly full we felt, exploring Hamburg's streets after the sunset gave us a chance not only to walk down our food, but to see the city from a new perspective. And we were ready to see what the night would bring. So we've covered best view, the best chocolate, the best burger, and I'm absolutely stuffed. And our last quest is just to find the best place to chill out and have a beer. And where else would you do that than the Reeperbahn? The Reeperbahn is a street in the St. Pauli district, which is one of the centres of Hamburg's nightlife. The Reeperbahn's lined with restaurants, nightclubs and bars, and as you can imagine, that means it's a central point for tourists too. You should expect to see a stag do or two if you visit.
But a night out isn't the only reason tourists are drawn to the Reeperbahn. It's also the city's main red light district, and the clubs and bars are interspersed with strip clubs, sex shops and brothels.
Even if you're quite an inhibited person, you'd be missing out if you didn't visit. The Reeperbahn is an assault on the senses, bright, loud and colourful, and it's a part of Hamburg's diverse history. So this trip to Hamburg has been brilliant, right? It's somewhere you've got to add to your bucket list, whether you want to do the trip like a total tourist or whether you want to find your own way. It's just got something for everyone. It's brilliant. We've had an equally fun time doing everything we've been told to do, and then just doing the things we wanted to do on a whim. So add it to your bucket list. You're gonna love it. Jake and Tom signing off. Have a good time in Hamburg, guys.